This month, Venus and Jupiter steal the evening sky. Mercury gives us one of its better evening apparitions of the year, and the summer observing season officially begins. Hello, and welcome to the Astro Guy podcast. I'm your host, Wayne Zool. This is What's Up in the June 2026 Skies Part 1, and this month really does give us a little bit of everything. Planets in the evening sky, planets in the morning sky, a beautiful conjunction, and the June solstice, marking the start of astronomical summer. But this is only part one. In this episode, we're going to focus on the planets, what you can see with your eyes, binoculars, or a small telescope, and then we'll take a look at a couple of current space news stories. Then in part two, we'll slow things down and go observing. We'll visit our lunar feature of the month, and then head into the deep sky as the summer Milky Way starts to rise into better view. So let's start close to home with this month's planetary roundup. Let's begin with Mercury. It never gets very far from the sun in our sky, so when it's visible, you usually have a short window to find it. You need a clear horizon, good timing, and a little patience. Mercury reaches its greatest elongation on June 15th, which means it appears at its greatest angular distance east of the sun. In plain English, that puts Mercury in the evening sky after sunset, low in the west. Even though it will appear at its greatest distance from the sun in our sky, that doesn't mean that Mercury will be high or obvious to spot. It means that it is better placed than usual, so take advantage of it. Start looking about 30 to 45 minutes after sunset. You'll need a clear, unobstructed western horizon. Venus and Jupiter will be much easier to spot, and Mercury will be lower and fainter, but this is still a good time to try for it. Binoculars can help, but only after the sun is completely below the horizon. Never sweep near the sun with binoculars or a telescope. You can permanently damage your eyes. If you've never seen Mercury before, this is a good month to catch it in the evening twilight. There will be a conjunction of the Moon and Mercury on June 16th, when the pair will be separated by about 2.5 degrees. If you have a clear western horizon, the young moon can help guide you toward Mercury in the evening twilight. Mercury will be visible, although low in the evening sky for most of the month. The last several days of June, it will become lost in the twilight. Venus appears as a brilliant evening star this month, and it's going to be hard to miss. Look west after sunset. Venus will be the brightest point of light in that part of the sky. It's brighter than any star, and except for the moon, it is the brightest natural object you'll see in the night sky. Through a telescope, Venus is not about surface detail. The real story is phase and geometry. Watching Venus change shape over weeks and months as it moves around the sun from our point of view. On June 9th, Venus and Jupiter appear close together in the evening sky. The pair will be separated by about 1.5 degrees. This is one of those events that is perfect for casual sky watchers. Let your friends and family know about it. It will be beautiful. You don't need a telescope. You don't need to know the constellations. Just face west after sunset and look for the two bright planets close together in the fading twilight. Then, on the evening of the 17th, the moon joins in on the fun. This kind of arrangement is made for photography. A thin moon, bright Venus, Jupiter nearby, and the colors of twilight. You don't need a complicated setup. A camera on a tripod, or even a steady phone shot may be enough to capture the scene. If you capture an image of this, please share it on our Facebook group. As we move further out in the solar system, we're going to take a brief stop here on Earth. On June 21st, we reach the June solstice. For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, this marks the official beginning of astronomical summer. It is also the day when the sun reaches its northernmost point in our sky, giving us the longest daylight period of the year and the shortest night. For astronomers, the summer solstice comes with mixed feelings. The warm weather is great, but the nights are short. Moving on, Mars is a morning object, low in the eastern sky before sunrise. It is slowly becoming more accessible as the year goes on, but this month it is still not especially large or dramatic in a telescope. If you're up before sunrise, look low in the east. Mars should appear as a modest reddish point of light. and even when it's not visually impressive, it is still worth following because Mars moves noticeably against the background stars over time. Mars begins the month in Aries, before moving into Taurus on the 19th. Next up is Jupiter. Early in the month, Jupiter is low in the west after sunset, so you'll need a clear horizon. It is not at its best for telescopic observing right now. Low altitude means you're looking through more of Earth's atmosphere, and that usually softens the view. But Jupiter is still Jupiter. In binoculars, if you can hold them steady, you should be able to pick up the Galilean moons. In a telescope, you'll see the disk of the planet and the moons lined up nearby. You may catch a hint of the cloud belts. Watch it with Venus on June 9th, and then again on the 17th when the moon joins the scene. Jupiter will be rapidly disappearing from the evening skies, so spot it while you still can. Saturn is a morning planet this month. On June 10th, the moon passes near Saturn, and that gives early risers a useful guidepost in the morning sky. Saturn is always exciting to see through a telescope, but there is an important thing to remember this year. The rings are still presented at a shallow angle. Saturn's ring plane crossing happened last year, and the rings are now slowly opening back up, but they are still far from the wide open view many observers remember. It's a different Saturn, not worse, just different. Now let's briefly talk about Uranus and Neptune. Uranus is not a practical target for most observers this month. For much of June, it's still too close to the morning twilight to be worth chasing, unless you're specifically looking for it with a chart or a smart telescope. Neptune is placed a little better, about 10 degrees west of Saturn. In a telescope, it usually looks like a tiny bluish-gray disk, and you need to know exactly where to look. Before we leave the sky itself, let's look at the moon for a moment. The June lunar phases give us a useful observing rhythm. The moon reaches last quarter on June 8th, new moon on the 15th, first quarter on the 21st, and it will be full on June 29th. That means the middle of the month is your best dark sky window for deep sky observing. If you want to chase clusters, nebulae, and the summer Milky Way, the nights around new moon are the ones to circle. Then, as the moon returns to the evening sky and reaches first quarter around June 21st, we get a good opportunity for lunar observing. And even with the moon in the sky, that doesn't mean that the night is wasted. Double stars are still excellent targets, and brighter deep sky objects, especially open clusters and some globular clusters, can still be very enjoyable. Moonlight will wash out the fainter objects, especially faint nebulae and galaxies, but there's still plenty to see. The key is to observe what the sky gives you when it gives it to you, and that's exactly where part 2 will pick up. We'll look at the moon, then move out into the deep sky. But first, let's shift from what's up in the sky to what's happening in space exploration and astronomy. Let's start with a spacecraft that is about to get a little help from Mars. NASA's Psyche spacecraft is on its way to one of the most unusual objects in the solar system, a metal-rich asteroid also named Psyche. This asteroid orbits the Sun in the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, and scientists think it may be rich in iron and nickel. That makes it especially interesting because it may help us understand the kind of material found in the cores of rocky planets like Earth. On May 15, 2026, Psyche flew past Mars, passing about 2,800 miles or 4,500 kilometers above the planet's surface at roughly 12,000 miles an hour. The spacecraft used Mars's gravity to adjust its trajectory and increase its speed along the path toward asteroid Psyche. The flyby saves propellant, changes the spacecraft's path, and helps send Psyche further out into the solar system. And the mission team used the opportunity to test and calibrate the spacecraft's science instruments. Psyche's multispectral imager was expected to capture thousands of observations of Mars during the flyby, which will help the team refine the techniques they'll need when the spacecraft reaches its asteroid target in 2029. And that main mission is fascinating. Asteroid Psyche may be a leftover building block from the early solar system. It could represent material from inside a young planet-like body that was stripped apart by impacts long ago. The mission is not just another trip to an asteroid. It's a mission that may help us understand how rocky planets formed, how they separated into layers, and what the deep interiors of planets are really like. If Psyche sounds familiar, we talked about this mission back in October of 2023 when it launched aboard a SpaceX Falcon Heavy. I'll include a link to that episode in the show notes, because this Mars flyby is the next major step in that same journey. Our next story takes us from one spacecraft to an observatory that may completely change the way we think about the night sky. The Vera C. Rubin Observatory has issued its first scientific alerts, marking a major milestone in its mission to monitor the changing sky in near real time. Those first alerts included detections of supernovae, variable stars, active galactic nuclei, and asteroids. The Rubin system is expected to scale up to about 7 million alerts per night. And that is a big deal. Rubin's not just taking beautiful pictures, it's watching the sky change. For most of human history, the night sky felt permanent. The stars seemed fixed. The constellations were familiar. If something changed, it was rare enough to become memorable, like a bright comet, a nova, or an unexpected meteor shower. But modern astronomy has shown that the universe is anything but static. Stars explode, asteroids move, some objects brighten, fade, appear, disappear, and shift position. Rubin Observatory is built to catch that action on a massive scale. It's expected to scan the southern sky repeatedly for 10 years, using the largest digital camera ever built for astronomy to detect changes night after night. And what makes this especially powerful is speed. When Rubin detects something that's changed, the alert system is designed to notify astronomers quickly enough that follow-up observations can happen while the event is still unfolding. That matters because some astronomical events just don't wait around. If a supernova, asteroid, or an unusual flare is caught early, follow-up observations can begin while the event is still unfolding. This is where astronomy is heading. It's no longer about taking a beautiful image of a single object. It's about building a living, changing map of the sky. Rubin is a professional observatory, but the discoveries it makes will ripple through the entire astronomy community. Some alerts will lead to major scientific papers. Some will trigger follow-up by large observatories. Some may become targets for advanced amateurs, and some will simply remind us that the sky above is not frozen in time. It's active, it's dynamic. And now, with the Rubin Observatory, we are beginning to watch that changing sky almost as it happens. If you'd like more information about the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, I left the link in the show notes to an episode we did last July titled All About the Vera C. Rubin Observatory. One of the great things about astronomy is that the sky can feel timeless, but it is never really standing still. That's part of what keeps this hobby so enjoyable. The sky can feel familiar, but it never repeats itself. Every month gives us something we recognize and something new to notice. In the next episode, we're going to bring that idea back to the eyepiece. We'll start with our lunar feature of the month, then move into the deep sky as the summer Milky Way begins to take over from the galaxies of spring. We'll look at double stars, open clusters, and bright nebulae, the kind of targets that make summer observing so rewarding. And if you get out under the skies this month, especially for the Venus-Jupiter conjunction or the moon joining the planets mid-month, let me know how it looked from where you are. Drop a comment in the Facebook group or send me a message. As always, please like, subscribe, and comment. You can email us at astroguypodcast@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 973-404-0380. Until next time, may your skies be clear. And as always, carpe noctem, seize the night. I'm Wayne Zool, and this was the Astro Guy Podcast. Thank you for listening. As always, your questions, comments, and suggestions are welcome. Keep wondering. Keep your eyes on the sky. Have fun. Carpe Noctem. Seize the night.